So this is Group 2 Team Case Analysis. My name is Haley Rotter. I graduated last spring with my undergraduate degree in marketing and also with a sales certificate. And this year, I just started the MBA program and hope to graduate at the end of next summer.
My name's Dave Wigan. I'm going to graduate in May 2022 with an undergrad in accounting and my MBA in a certificate in risk management.
Hey everyone, I'm Bryce Fontana, and I just graduated last spring with my undergrad in marketing and a certificate in sales. And this year I just started into the MBA program, and I also play football here at Robert Morris.
My name is Ben Savick. I am a marketing student here at Robert Morris. I'm doing the integrated program, and I plan to finish with my marketing undergrad and accomplish an MBA at the end of this spring. And I'm on the men's lacrosse team here at Robert Morris. So to jump in here, after watching this TED Talk, and the topic of it was artificial intelligence and the power, the speaker, Zeynep Tufekci, who is a Turkish techno-sociologist, touched on the subject of artificial intelligence and the power that it holds. She referenced Terminator in the beginning and how we often fear. She followed that up with a very powerful statement. She said, what we need to fear the most is not what artificial intelligence will do on its own, but how the people in power will use artificial intelligence to control us and to manipulate us in novel, sometimes hidden, subtle, and unexpected ways. So the question is not the level of power, but how the power is being used. And so to understand where millennials are most vulnerable, first we have to go to the source. And she talked a lot about just social media and the power it has, and that leads to the dependency or obsession or addiction, whatever you will, that millennials have with social media. We very commonly hear about Gen Z and their addiction to social media, but we would argue that millennials, although they may not have the same time spent on social media, or they might, the amount of platforms that they use is a lot higher than Gen Z, because in addition to the platforms that Gen Z are using, for example, TikTok or Instagram, millennials are using twice as many, Facebook, Twitter, whatever other news sites. So once we touch on the source, then we go to the area that millennials are most vulnerable, and that would be political persuasion. The speaker, Zeynep, talked a lot about the power that artificial intelligence has, and she talked about the algorithms that they use. And at first glance, it kind of sounds like, okay, they're using this information for ads, just to know more for businesses. But really, it's much more complex than that. We don't understand the power that these algorithms really have. She talked about the fact that even deleted statuses that we use, things that we could have typed in on Facebook or on Twitter and then deleted, they're able to save that information and use it. And she talked about the fact that this algorithm's actually almost getting out of hand. The amount of information that's being poured into it is just creating a domino effect for the power that it has. And so really this leads into the main problem that was touched in the area that they're most vulnerable is political persuasion. And the reason is, in the digital world, persuasion architectures can be built on the scale of billions because of how personalized they can be. This becomes a problem because at this point, millennials, which are at such a pivotal point for political persuasion, aren't able to generate an opinion for themselves, because the truth of the matter is we no longer know if we're seeing the same information. And that's because the amount of things that are being put on our pages because of social media are becoming so personalized. And that leads to the ultimate problem that the speaker touched on. And that's the fact that we are no longer able to have a basis of information for ourselves, which ultimately, as she states, little by little, public debate is becoming impossible. So as we move to the next slide here, we're able to see really the power that millennials have when it comes to voting and political persuasion. As you see just in the jump alone, the second to bottom line in yellow, just from 2014 to 2018, it jumped exponentially. So this shows the amount of voters that we have in the millennial age group. And I think that we can argue in 2014 to 2018, the power that social media had over the opinions of millennials. So now I'm going to pass it on to Haley Rotter to talk about the next subject.
So, on to consumer protection. So, after listening to the TED Talk, it was pretty clear that, that the development of artificial intelligence and automated decision making processes present challenges for consumer trust and welfare. When consumers are interacting with such systems, I think it's super important for the consumers to properly be informed about how it works and how it functions. The information does not seem as public as it should be. Most consumers do not even know that things like advertising, information, prices, or even contract terms have been personalized according to his or her personal profile on sites such as Facebook, Google, Amazon, and many other websites as well. The use of artificial intelligence in products and services also creates new risks and liability issues for consumers due to the connectivity and the high degree of automation. There's the potential risk of violation in the current consumer protection laws. I think that by having more transparency when it comes to the data being used and also the independent researchers to evaluate the algorithms would significantly help the consumer protection. I think that there should also be a future discussion about upcoming with some type of new legal framework for consumer protection against the artificial intelligence. I think it would be important to also have some more strict regulations in place for the specific areas of risk. I'll now pass it over to David.
So what are some of the positives for collecting data? On the business side, you get a better understanding of your customer tendencies. So one of them could be a location. I can give a personal example. I was recently bought a new TV the other day, and when I just Googled TVs, the first thing that came up was TVs in the Robinson Walmart, and that's the closest location is for me. So businesses can gather data and give you the closest item that you're searching for. Other one is buying habits. Businesses can get data where you buy it from, where you go to, how do you get it. Social media, that's a big one where people buy stuff from. Another benefit is improving marketing strategy, personalized ads to each consumer. Businesses, once they get that certain data, they can make specific ads to each person they want to target. And the data that they get from marketing campaigns can tell if their campaign was successful or not. And the big thing here is they can make money from selling data. Companies sell data to other companies and third parties. For example, Facebook, they have all the personal data they can gather, and every company wants to buy it from Facebook because all this information is free out there, and Facebook has the resource to sell to each other. And selling data is a big industry. It's worth $200 billion. And then you can see on this little graph I put on here, the average email worth is $89. So industries put a value on certain items. And you can go to the next slide. I have another graph to show. This is from one of the readings that we had to read over. And as you can see, if you go up, so if you go vertical, the businesses benefit the most if you go up. And the lower you go, the consumer benefits more. And if you go right on the graph, it's the more sensitive personal data like your social security. And if you go on the more left, it's just like your name, where you live, email address. So the top right, that's the most valuable to businesses, and the bottom left corner be the most valuable to consumers. And I'll pass it off to Bryce.
Thank you, David. So continuing with that, the positives for collecting data for customers. So personalization, that seems to be like a common trend that we've been talking about. Personalization, customization for each individual customer, right? And what this does is, for one, it improves the ad experience. So it improves the experience for customers by removing irrelevant ads from their online experience. With ad blocking being more popular and a growing societal revolt against advertising, it kind of seems, marketers do not want to make the matter worse by serving up ads that offer no value to customers. So when they give you these ads, even though you have so many, they want them to cater to you and things that are relevant in your life and things that you might use. So even the most hard-nosed anti-advertising customers will be able to appreciate when they get advertisements that are relevant products or services for their life and things that they can use, as long as it's at the right time in the right place. Next, I have it caters to customers. So customer wants and needs are better understood. So the more information that these businesses have, the more they're able to cater to the customers' wants, because they'll understand them. They know what they want. They know what their tendencies are, where they are in life, and things that can benefit them in those moments. And that's what they're going to reach out to you and offer you. So if business leaders and product strategists cannot accurately assess the market and how their products and services are being used, then they would struggle to be able to improve and deliver on customer expectations. And ultimately, as a customer, that's what you want, is for your expectations to be met by these companies for their product or service, or even surpassed. So data collection allows businesses to deeply understand the market so that they can serve customers in more innovative, intuitive, and creative ways, ultimately resulting in customers whose needs, wants, and desires are met. And when that's all met, leads to a happy customer. And then it helps the customer save money. So you might be thinking, yeah, I get promotions all the time and it helps me save money, but it helps the business. But kind of like David had mentioned, it can find you discounts while customers shopping. So he had mentioned that he was shopping for TVs, and he looked it up, and it showed him that the closest place he could get that TV was the Walmart down the street, right? But also what this data offers is the ability for companies to be able to know where you are and then give you discounts. So it'll give you whether there's promotions, or this store has 30% off TVs today, something like that. By knowing where you are, they can give you the most relevant offers to you that you can be able to get to. So if Walmart had TVs for sale that day, you would likely be able to get that offer because they know you're searching for TVs and Walmart's close. Or if Target has a better offer, you'd be able to get that offer as well. So it's not just getting these, but it allows businesses to offer customers savings when they need them most, which is ultimately when they're shopping. And this isn't just confined to retail like TVs or clothes, but in the big picture, if you look at, for instance, the insurance industry, a consumer data allows carriers to more accurately price premiums and offer products and services that align with a customer's changing circumstances. So whether they're going into retirement or they're about to purchase a new home, a company can see that and be like, okay, well, these are the services, or these are the promotions that we want to give them, because this is what's going to benefit them most going into this next time, and this is what's going to be most useful for them. Instead of just being cluttered with a bunch of different things, it allows the process to be catered to the customer, and ultimately it creates more customer value. So it streamlines the process. It saves the customer time, it saves them money, and ultimately it should be able to save them stress, because they shouldn't have to look for everything. Oh, well, a lot of times people aren't even sure what they need, but this process allows the businesses to almost know what you need before you do, and understand the trends of yourself and other customers that are like you, and be able to cater to you and make the process easier for the customer. So if you go to the next slide, I just wanted to chime on this because I thought this chart was interesting, because there are so many benefits for the customer in this process, though it is scary because people don't really understand what the data is being used for, or everything that's being collected, right? We talk about transparency. And so if you see the chart, the orange is, I believe, that consumers benefit from data collection and usage, and the blue is, I believe, that companies and brands benefit from data collection and usage. And obviously you can see that more people believe that the companies and the brands are benefiting, and less believe that consumers are benefiting. But I believe if we can establish this transparency to customers and let them understand what their data is being used for, and set up regulations to limit what it can be used for, then customers will start to understand all the good in it that's benefiting them, and how ultimately it's going to create more value with their interactions. So that's all I had, and that's what I wanted to close with.
And then these are our references.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.